what if the reason you feel restless, exhausted, or quietly overwhelmed is not because something is missing in your life, but because you are holding on to too much? As 2026 begins, the world feels louder, faster, more uncertain than ever. Many people search for peace by adding more goals, more plans, more answers. But what if that is exactly why peace feels so far away? Buddhism offers a different perspective, one that may surprise you. Inner peace is not something you gain. It is something you uncover by releasing what no longer belongs to you, not by becoming someone new, but by remembering who you are beneath the weight you have been carrying. Ask yourself honestly, what thoughts do you replay every night? What expectations quietly drain your energy? What fears are you gripping, hoping they will protect you? In this reflection, we will explore 10 subtle things you may need to let go of in 2026, not to escape life, but to finally feel at home within it. Listen slowly. Let this feel like a quiet conversation with yourself. Inner peace, as Buddhism teaches, does not come from adding more to your life. It comes from gently releasing what no longer belongs. This is not about fixing yourself. It is not about becoming calmer, wiser, or more spiritual overnight. It is about noticing the quiet burdens you have been carrying without question. The thoughts you believe you must control. The identities you feel pressured to maintain. The fears, comparisons, expectations, and unfinished stories that quietly shape how you move through each day. Many of these attachments once served a purpose. They helped you survive, adapt, or feel safe now. But survival is not the same as peace. In Buddhism, suffering often continues not because pain exists, but because we keep holding what is ready to be released. So, as you listen, do not rush. Let each truth arrive in its own time. Let this be less like a lesson and more like a mirror. You do not need to agree with everything. Simply notice what resonates and what quietly asks to be let go. Let us begin. One of the deepest sources of inner unrest is the belief that life must unfold according to your plans. From a young age, many of us were taught, directly or indirectly, that control equals safety. If you plan carefully enough, think far enough ahead, and prepare for every possibility, you can avoid pain. But Buddhism gently reminds us of a different truth. Control is often an illusion, and clinging to it is a quiet form of suffering. You cannot control how others behave. You cannot control how quickly life changes. You cannot control timing, outcomes, or the shape the future will take. Yet many people exhaust themselves trying. Notice what happens in the body when you resist reality. The tight jaw, the shallow breath, the endless inner dialogue saying, "This shouldn't be happening." The Buddha taught that suffering does not arise from change itself. It arises from resisting change. When you try to control life, you are silently telling yourself that this moment is not enough, that peace must wait until reality behaves differently. But peace does not arrive when everything goes your way. Peace arrives when you stop demanding that it should. Letting go of control does not mean becoming passive or careless. It means learning the difference between what is yours to guide and what is not yours to carry. You can choose your actions. You can choose your intentions. You can choose how you respond, but the rest must be allowed. Ask yourself gently, what am I trying to control right now because I am afraid? Often beneath control lives fear. Fear of loss, fear of uncertainty, fear of being hurt again. When you soften your grip, something unexpected happens. The breath deepens, the mind quiets, the heart feels lighter. In 2026, inner peace will not come from predicting every outcome. It will come from meeting each moment with openness instead of resistance. Say quietly to yourself, I allow life to unfold. I will meet what comes with presence, not panic. Control tightens the soul. Trust relaxes it. And when you let go of the need to control everything, you make space for something wiser to guide you. There is a quiet form of suffering that comes from comparing your present life to your past. You may notice it in subtle thoughts. I used to be stronger. I used to feel happier. I used to know exactly who I was. At first, these thoughts feel harmless. But Buddhism teaches that clinging to former identities is a subtle form of attachment, and all attachment, when held too tightly, leads to suffering. You were never meant to remain who you once were. Life is movement. Life is change. Yet the mind often resists this truth, especially during seasons of transition. You may look at old photos, old achievements, old versions of yourself, and feel a quiet sense of loss. But ask yourself gently, were you ever meant to stay the same? The person you were then carried you to this moment. That version of you fulfilled its role. Now it is complete. Holding on to who you used to be can blind you to who you are becoming. In Buddhism, identity is not fixed. It is shaped by conditions, experiences, and awareness. When you cling to an outdated self-image, inner conflict arises. You judge your present self. You feel behind. You believe something has been taken from you, but nothing has been taken. Something has transformed. The body changes. Desires change. Values change. This is not failure. It is life unfolding as it should. Try this reflection. What part of me am I grieving, and what new part of me is quietly emerging? Peace does not come from returning to an old version of yourself. Peace comes from honoring the wisdom gained through change. In 2006, inner peace will come from allowing yourself to evolve without apology. You do not need to prove continuity to be whole. You are allowed to be different. You are allowed to be softer. You are allowed to redefine success. Let go of the story that your best days are behind you. Every moment of awareness is a beginning. And when you release attachment to who you used to be, you create space for a deeper, truer presence to arise. Comparison is one of the quietest thieves of inner peace. It rarely announces itself. It slips in softly, almost unnoticed. You see someone else's life, progress, happiness, or stability, and suddenly your own feels insufficient. The mind begins to whisper, "They are ahead. They are doing better. I am behind." Buddhism teaches that comparison is born from a misunderstanding of suffering. You assume that others are more fulfilled or more at peace, but you are only seeing the surface. Every person you compare yourself to is carrying unseen struggles, hidden fears, private disappointments, inner battles you cannot see. When you compare, life turns into a competition that was never meant to exist. There is no finish line, no final ranking. The Buddha taught that craving, the desire to be different from who you are, is a root of suffering. Comparison feeds this craving endlessly. No matter how much you achieve, someone will always appear ahead. No matter how much you have, someone else will seem to have more. The cycle never ends. Inner peace begins when you step out of the race entirely. Your life is not late. Your timing is not wrong. Your path is not flawed. It is simply yours. Ask yourself gently, what happens when I stop measuring my life against others? Often, what arises is relief. You reconnect with what truly matters to you instead of living by borrowed values. In Buddhism, the practice is to return to your own breath, your own body, your own experience. When comparison appears, notice it without judgment. Then guide your attention back to where you are. Comparison pulls you away from presence. Presence brings you home. In 2026, inner peace will come from honoring your unique rhythm. Some seeds bloom early, some bloom later. All are valid. Release the habit of asking, "Am I doing enough compared to them?" And ask instead, "Am I living in alignment with what matters to me?" When you let go of comparison, contentment becomes possible. And contentment is one of the deepest forms of wealth. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy stone inside your heart. You may have been hurt, misunderstood, or deeply disappointed. Your pain was real. And Buddhism does not ask you to deny it, but it gently invites you to notice what happens when pain is held too long, when it hardens into bitterness, when it becomes part of how you see the world. Resentment keeps the past alive in the present. It replays old moments again and again, long after the situation has ended. The Buddha taught that holding on to anger is like gripping a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Forgiveness in Buddhism is not about excusing harm. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of it. You do not forgive because others deserve it. You forgive because your heart deserves peace. Ask yourself quietly, how much energy am I giving to something that can no longer be changed? Resentment drains vitality. It tightens the chest. It clouds the mind. When you release it, you are not saying what happened was acceptable. You are saying, I choose not to suffer twice. This release may not happen all at once. It often unfolds in layers. Be patient with yourself. Try this gentle practice. When a painful memory arises, place a hand on your heart and say softly, I acknowledge this pain and I allow it to soften. You are allowed to move forward without carrying old wounds. In 2006, inner peace will require lightness. And lightness comes from setting down what no longer needs to be held. Your past does not need your protection anymore. It needs your compassion and your release. Many people carry an invisible burden into each new year. The belief that their value depends on how much they do. From an early age, you may have learned that being busy meant being useful, that rest needed to be justified, that slowing down meant falling behind. This belief runs quietly in the background of daily life. You feel uneasy on days when you do less. You feel guilty when you rest. Stillness begins to feel uncomfortable. But Buddhism offers a radically compassionate truth. Your worth has never been dependent on productivity. You are valuable simply because you exist. Suffering begins when the mind equates stillness with failure, when quiet days feel empty instead of nourishing, when rest feels undeserved instead of healing. As 2006 unfolds, the pressure to keep up will grow stronger, to adapt faster, to achieve more, to prove your value again and again. But inner peace does not grow in constant motion, it grows in presence. The Buddha taught that attachment to becoming, the endless need to be more, is a source of dissatisfaction. There is always another goal, another expectation, another version of yourself waiting to be achieved. And yet peace is found in being, not becoming. Ask yourself gently, how do I speak to myself on days when I do less? If the inner voice becomes harsh or dismissive, that is not truth speaking. It is conditioning. You are allowed to rest without earning it. You are allowed to have value beyond output. Stillness is not wasted time. It is where clarity returns, where the nervous system softens, where wisdom can be heard. In Buddhism, mindfulness is not an activity. It is a state of awareness. You can be fully alive while doing nothing at all. Try this reflection. Can I allow myself to simply exist without justification? In 2026, inner peace will come from redefining success, not as constant motion, but as alignment with what truly matters. Your breath has value. Your presence has value. Your quiet moments matter. When you let go of the belief that productivity defines you, life is no longer something to conquer. It becomes something to inhabit. Many disappointments do not come from what people do. They come from what we silently expect them to be. You may expect others to understand you without explanation, to change when you are hurt, to meet your emotional needs in ways they may not be capable of. Often, these expectations are born from hope, not cruelty. But when they remain unspoken or unmet, they quietly turn into frustration, sadness, or resentment. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we attach our happiness to conditions outside ourselves. When you expect others to behave in certain ways, you hand them power over your inner peace. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you begin to see people clearly, without illusion. Every person is shaped by their own fears, conditioning, wounds, and level of awareness. They act from where they are, not from where you need them to be. Ask yourself gently, am I asking this person to be someone they are not ready to be? Often, disappointment softens when expectation is replaced with understanding. Letting go of expectations does not mean tolerating harm. It does not mean abandoning boundaries. It means releasing the hope that someone will suddenly become different if you wait long enough. Peace grows from clarity. When expectations loosen, relationships feel lighter. You stop replaying conversations in your mind. You stop taking behavior personally. The Buddha taught that attachment to desire, including the desire for others to change, creates suffering. You cannot force growth. You cannot hurry awareness. But you can choose honesty. You can choose boundaries. You can choose where your energy belongs. Try this gentle reflection. What expectation was present when disappointment arose? Simply naming it creates space. In 2026, inner peace will come from releasing the fantasy of perfect understanding. You will find peace not in being constantly met, but in being grounded within yourself. When expectations soften, relationships become more real, more honest, and far less heavy. Uncertainty often feels uncomfortable, especially in a world that constantly asks for plans, predictions, and guarantees. The mind finds comfort in knowing what comes next, in imagining outcomes, in believing the future can be prepared for completely. But Buddhism offers a different relationship with uncertainty. It is not something to fear. It is the very nature of reality. Nothing is ever fully known. Nothing is guaranteed. And yet, life continues to unfold. Suffering begins when the mind demands certainty as a condition for peace. You may delay joy until things are resolved. You may hold back from living fully because the path ahead feels unclear. But clarity often arrives after movement, not before it. The Buddha taught that impermanence and uncertainty are inseparable. Everything is changing, moment by moment. When you accept this, something inside relaxes. You stop asking the future for answers it cannot give. You return to the only place where peace can exist, this moment. Ask yourself gently, what am I postponing until I feel certain? Often, beneath that question lives fear. Fear of mistakes, fear of loss, fear of choosing wrongly. But uncertainty does not mean danger. It means possibility. In Buddhism, trust is not blind optimism. It is a quiet confidence in your ability to respond to whatever arises. You may not know what 2026 will bring, but you know how to breathe. You know how to pause. You know how to meet experience with awareness. That is enough. Try this reflection. Instead of asking, what will happen? Ask, how will I meet what happens? When the question changes, fear loosens its grip. In 2026, inner peace will come from walking forward without needing the full map. Life is not meant to be solved. It is meant to be experienced. When you let go of the fear of uncertainty, openness replaces hesitation. And in that openness, peace quietly grows. There is a quiet hunger many people carry without naming it. The need to be seen, to be approved of, to be reassured that they are doing life right. You may notice it in small ways, checking how others respond to your words, wondering how you are perceived, feeling unsettled when recognition does not arrive. This need for validation is deeply human, but Buddhism teaches that when your sense of worth depends on external approval, inner peace becomes fragile. Praise lifts you briefly. Criticism cuts deeply. Silence feels like rejection. The mind begins to look outward for answers. Am I enough? Do I matter? Am I doing this correctly? But answers from the outside are never stable. They change with moods, circumstances, and opinions. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when the self is built upon what is impermanent, and approval is one of the most impermanent things of all. Ask yourself gently, how often do I abandon my inner truth in order to be accepted? Often, the search for validation leads to quiet self-betrayal. You say yes when you mean no. You soften your truth to avoid discomfort. You shape yourself to fit expectations that are not your own. Over time, this creates exhaustion. Not because you are doing too much, but because you are not being yourself. Inner peace begins when you turn inward instead of outward. Validation does not disappear when you stop chasing it. It is replaced by something deeper. Self-respect. In Buddhism, self-respect is not arrogance. It is alignment. Living in harmony with your values, even when no one is watching. Try this reflection. If no one were judging me, what would I choose? Notice what arises. You do not need constant affirmation to live peacefully. You need inner permission. Permission to rest. Permission to change. Permission to be misunderstood. When you stop performing for approval, life becomes simpler. Your words become more honest, your actions more grounded. In 2006, inner peace will require courage, the courage to be rooted in yourself. You may still appreciate kindness and recognition, but you will no longer depend on them. Your worth will not rise or fall with opinions. It will remain steady, quiet, and unshaken. Let go of the habit of asking the world who you are. You already know. Many people live with an invisible pressure, the quiet belief that time is slipping away. You may hear it in your thoughts. I should be further by now. I don't have time to start over. It's too late. This belief creates urgency, regret, and subtle panic. It pulls you out of the present and into imagined futures and rewritten pasts. Buddhism offers a different understanding of time, not as an enemy to outrun, but as a flow to be lived. The Buddha taught that only this moment is real. The past exists as memory. The future exists as imagination. When you believe you are running out of time, you stop fully inhabiting the time you have. You rush conversations. You overlook small joys. You turn life into a deadline instead of an experience. Ask yourself gently, what am I afraid will be lost if I slow down? Often beneath this fear lives comparison, comparing timelines, comparing milestones, comparing lives. But no two lives unfold in the same rhythm. Some people awaken early, some awaken later. Some return again and again before clarity appears. None of this is failure. Time is not meant to be conquered. It is meant to be lived. When you release the belief that you are behind, something inside softens. You stop chasing meaning and begin noticing it. A quiet morning becomes enough. A sincere conversation feels complete. A single mindful breath becomes sacred. In Buddhism, awareness expands time. When you are fully present, moments feel richer, deeper, more alive. Try this gentle practice. When you feel rushed, pause. Notice your breath. Just one full breath. Feel how time slows when attention deepens. In 2026, inner peace will come from remembering this truth. You are not late to your life. You are here. And here is where life happens. It is never too late to be present. Never too late to be kind. Never too late to let go of what no longer serves you. The belief that time is running out creates fear. The awareness of this moment creates peace. Release the story that you must hurry. Life is not leaving you behind. It is waiting for you to arrive. There is a quiet pressure many people carry into each new year. The belief that by now they should have clarity. Clarity about who they are. Clarity about where they are going. Clarity about what their life is meant to be. This belief often goes unquestioned. It hides behind phrases like, "I should know better," or "I need to get my life together." But Buddhism offers a gentler truth. Life is not meant to be fully understood. It is meant to be lived. The mind seeks certainty because it fears vulnerability. It wants solid ground, clear answers, and defined paths. Yet the Buddha taught that clinging to fixed views is one of the deepest sources of suffering. When you believe you must have everything figured out, you place your peace in the future. You tell yourself, calm will arrive once decisions are made, once doubts disappear, once direction is clear. But clarity does not grow under pressure. It grows in presence. Many people move through life feeling inadequate because their path does not look linear. Plans change, desires shift, certainty fades, then returns, and the mind interprets this as failure. But uncertainty is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that life is alive. In Buddhism, wisdom is not the accumulation of answers. It is the ability to remain open in the presence of not knowing. Ask yourself gently, what am I demanding clarity about right now? Notice how the body responds, the tension, the urgency, the self-judgment. Now, ask, what if I didn't need to know yet? When you release the need to have everything figured out, something unexpected happens. You begin to listen more closely to your body, to your intuition, to the quiet signals that overthinking usually drowns out. The Buddha did not reach awakening by forcing certainty. He reached it by sitting with uncertainty long enough for insight to arise naturally. Life is not a puzzle to be solved once and for all. It is a process of unfolding understanding. When you allow yourself to be in between decisions, between identities, between chapters, you stop rushing yourself. And when you stop rushing, wisdom has space to appear. In 2006, inner peace will not come from having all the answers. It will come from trusting yourself to meet questions with patience. You do not need to see the entire path to take the next step. You only need to be present enough to recognize what feels aligned. Try this gentle practice. When uncertainty arises, instead of searching for immediate resolution, say quietly to yourself, "It is okay not to know. I will walk with awareness." Notice how the mind softens. Letting go of the need to have everything figured out does not mean giving up responsibility. It means releasing self-punishment. You stop measuring your worth by how clear your future looks. You stop believing confusion means failure. Some of the most meaningful shifts in life happen during periods of not knowing. They slow you down. They deepen trust. They teach humility. In Buddhism, right understanding grows from observation, not force. When you let go of the belief that you must have everything figured out, life begins to teach you moment by moment, and something remarkable happens. You start to feel supported by life instead of tested by it. Not knowing is not emptiness. It is openness. And in that openness, inner peace becomes possible. As you move forward, remember this gently. Inner peace is not something you chase or achieve. It is something you uncover each time you release what no longer needs to be carried. You were never meant to hold everything. Some burdens were only meant to teach you, not to travel with you forever. If something within this reflection stayed with you, let it accompany you quietly into your days. Return to these truths whenever life feels heavy, confusing, or too loud. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be certain. You do not need to become someone else to be worthy of peace. Here, in this moment, your breath is enough. Your presence is enough. Thank you for spending this time with yourself. If you feel called to continue this journey, Buddha Life Lessons is a space for quiet wisdom, mindful reflections, and gentle reminders for everyday life. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing to Buddha Life Lessons and sharing it with someone who may need a moment of stillness today. Until next time, breathe softly, walk slowly, and trust your path. Peace is not waiting for you somewhere ahead. It is already here when you allow yourself to arrive.